Transmission incoming. Connected.
So, welcome to episode 9 of Rogue and Blasted podcast. I'm Steve Beck. I'm a commission painter and owner of Rogue Miniatures Commission Studio. This week we have James.
Hello everyone, James back into the hobby after a 30-year break, trying to become a tournament gamer, and I'm getting there. I'm struggling, but I'm getting there.
Well, you have succeeded in becoming a tournament gamer.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
You've succeeded.
Yeah.
And we've got Dan Beck, our loyal and resident tech priest.
Hello. Yep, I'm Dan. Help produce the podcast and also getting back into Warhammer after technically maybe a 15-year gap, but it's always sort of like slightly been a part of my life. I always end up checking out the latest White Dwarf at the magazine stand and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've all done that. Walk through the shop.
Mm-hmm.
White Dwarf. That's Warhammer's still around.
That's a space
quick peek. Cool. So our main discussion this week is going to be the Warhammer Whirlpool, as I think James coined that term a while back. So why is the 40k hobby so addictive? Before that, we're obviously going to cover a Grimdark Would You Rather. And later in the show, we've got a brand new segment, a 40k Who Would Win? Classic playground banter, basically, where we pitch two characters from the 40k universe against each other, and we decide who wins with our expert opinions.
Without the two most experienced tournament players.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd say Connor is probably the most up on the lore. And
should we do Farsight and somebody today just to really rub it in?
Yeah. Just so even if we know something, just pretend complete ignorance, like
Farsight versus a guardsman. Guardsman wins,
and then we make him watch the episode, and we film his reaction.
There'll be a lot of beeps.
Yeah, there would. So thanks for joining us. We will launch into our Grimdark Would You Rather. So you ready, lads?
Yeah,
ready.
Picture this scenario: you are a space marine. Now I know probably in your heads you're already pretty much space marines, but you've been mortally wounded on the battlefield. Now, would you rather die there and then, so your heroic deeds recorded in chapter history, or would you rather be entombed in a redempted dreadnought? I'll let that one settle in, because this, you maybe think it's straightforward, but I don't think it is.
I think if you're a space marine, you are just going to be like, stick me in the dreadnought, let me keep going. There's still people to kill. They're not dead yet. Come on.
Okay. But this is, would you rather?
Yeah.
I'm much lazier than a real space marine.
Do you get what you're saying?
It's a pretty grim existence, you know. Well, although I suppose you're in stasis a lot of the time. Are they aware of anything whilst in stasis? Or are they completely kind of...
Well, so I've read a few bits and bobs about it, and it kind of differs, but some of the articles, stories that I read say that when they're in stasis, they're like vaguely aware that perhaps there's motion, or maybe they're being transported somewhere, but yeah, they're not sort of fully conscious, but they're not like in pain and suffering necessarily. But
because in a hell brute, in a hell brute, you're in constant pain and suffering non-stop. Right. There's just pure agony constantly. But yeah, in a dreadnought, I don't know, that seems like the glorious thing to do, doesn't it? You know, to become an honoured brother.
Yeah. See, and also the other thing as well is if we were looking at the older style dreadnought, I think that was a slightly less miserable existence.
Is the lore different between them, I think, isn't it?
Is the what, sorry?
I feel like the lore between them is different. Like the box style ones are supposed to be like more reliable and less horrible to be in or something.
Yeah, so the whole thing with the Redemptors is they're more powerful, they can do more. But the pilot kind of is much more taxing on the Marine that's entombed there. So they sort of tend to like burn out. So they actually, I think maybe I've got this wrong, they actually can be burnt out and then they put a new Marine in there. And they're sort of designed like that. So they burn brighter but half as long, sort of thing.
I think I'd have to be in the dreadnought. You've just got to do it. Yeah. At least if it's a Redemptor, you know it's not forever. So
yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Being burnt out maybe is a good thing. James is still really, really not sure about this one.
It's borderline, isn't it? Because as
Yeah.
Glory, and you've done your job. You've killed a load of heretics or Xenos scum on the battlefield. You're lying there.
Done
You're
your
ready
duty,
to take.
You've done your bit.
You've done your duty. Ready to take your last few breaths, and then some tech marine comes along, scoops you up.
Yeah.
Next thing you wake up, and you like, oh, where am I now? Hold on.
Yeah.
Like a really bad hangover.
Yeah.
But having said that, it is pretty cool in a grim dark kind of way.
Yeah.
Stick me in that sarcophagus.
Nice.
Stick me in there, boss.
Wire me up.
Yeah, wire me up. Yeah, a big part of me was thinking, oh, just be quite nice. Like, yeah, just take my gene seed and just let me slip away.
Yeah.
I've done my duty. Just record my heroic battle victory. But then you just think, yeah, it'd be pretty cool to be a redemptor. And if you really hated it, like Dan says, it's probably not going to be around for too long.
Just volunteer for all the frontline stuff.
Yeah, just go charging in. All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that brings us neatly on to the Warhammer Whirlpool. So what do we think makes this hobby so addictive? I mean, we've all kind of had a pretty long break. And so I came back in like 2022. So I'll be back in for 3 years, let's say.
Yeah.
And it just felt like this inexorable slide into the first. I think the algorithm did me over more than anything else. sent me what was it? I think it was maybe eBay or something like that. Just offered up like the Warhammer starter set with the Ultramarine and the paints, and just brought back all this nostalgia. And I thought, oh, wouldn't it be funny if I just painted up a Space Marine? And that was it. That was the thin end of the wedge. That's all it took.
So it was the painting
for me, yeah.
For you that sucked you in.
Yeah.
So before you start, sorry, go for it, James.
Did you then start reading little bits or buying a White Dwarf or anything like that?
So I've not bought a White Dwarf since I've come back into the hobby because it just seems there's so much online. So I've watched like loads of YouTube, like loads and loads of YouTube. I pretty quickly started watching Luton 09's channel. You guys heard of that?
I think I've seen some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's literally just like pure lore, and the videos are 2.5, 3 hours long. Nice. But he will do so much. It's like a history channel for 40k. Yeah. He will do so much.
Are we talking like Dan Carlin, but for 40k basically? That sounds amazing.
Oh, honestly, it's the best channel, and he's got like quite a relaxing voice.
Apart from this one,
and he will just kind of talk, and he goes off on these sort of rambly little tangents. James, you'd like it. These sort of little context tangents that he goes off on. But because he's done so much research, he can literally quote like the book that he got that bit of information from, the White Dwarf article. So amazing. As I say, it's like a history channel. So that was, I just started listening to that in the background when I was doing other stuff, sort of those two angles. And gaming never really sort of swayed me, I must admit. Yet.
So when you first got back into it, was it literally, I'm just going to get a few models and paint them up? Or did you almost instantly go like, I could build something like this with the Rogue and Blasted?
So I think when I bought the first one, I just thought, it's a bit of a laugh. I'll paint it. And then I was on Instagram just looking at other people's stuff. And I used to do like some woodworking. I was like building desks and selling desks during lockdown. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, Dan's got one right in front of him.
Definitely not covered in paint.
So I did think, I did kind of have like a business mind on it. And then I just saw like, there's a lot of commissioned painters out there. I wonder if anyone would buy models that I'd painted. So I think I've mentioned this before. I literally put up one listing on Etsy. And all of a sudden, I'm just getting people messaging me for orders and different types of marines. So all of a sudden I was like, I need to buy some more paint and buy different models. And then, kind of just went from there really. But pretty early on, it was like, okay, I'm doing this to make a bit of money on the side to enjoy rather than.
I quite like the idea of, if you are, say, just more of a hobbyist than, say, a player, almost buying, painting, building an army, selling it to then finance the next one.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's Not that I'm considering doing that at the moment, but that does seem like a fairly sustainable way to get into the hobby, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But then
Maybe.
also, yeah, you might not want to let go of something if you spent like countless hours building it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, even coming into it from like a business perspective, like I still very much like I could have done anything for a bit of money on the side, but I specifically wanted to paint Warhammer models.
Yeah.
Just because I found that process so addictive. Like I could have painted watercolors or canvas, but it wasn't. It was these little characters that were attached to all that lore that interested me.
Yeah. And one thing so you've mentioned that there. I think I mentioned to you a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago. Was there then another hook when you finally bought a codex? Did that then bring those little
pressure,
models?
James. It was peer pressure.
But is that another hook of Games Workshop? Not that they set these things up, but is it another sort of notch that you then read the codex and then it brings those models a little bit more to life? Like they've got abilities and like what their weapons do and how far they can move, what they can see, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, well, definitely did change my perspective. And honestly, I think just talking to you guys on the podcast and just just feeling very close up your enthusiasm for the game, especially you coming back into it and how excited you were getting, like about models arriving so you could go out and play games. Like it just suddenly opened up like that playing door, and I thought, oh, like there's a whole side to the hobby here, this great hobby that I love that I've not really considered. And it kind of cracked something open in my head, and I thought, oh, there's a reason that people think that want this character painted. It's not just because it looks nice.
Yeah,
it has pretty colors. Yeah, it does change it. Because you've always only ever been interested in the gaming, really. So you've come at it completely the opposite direction to me.
Yeah.
Why
Purely to
is
win.
that? Yeah, purely for the glory. But again, like you could be a chess player, or you could play like any competitive tabletop game. So why specifically do you think it's Warhammer?
Don't know. Sort of going right back into the depths of the 90s when I was playing back in the last century.
Yeah.
And in the late 1900s.
Your memories fade to black and white when you think about that.
Yeah. The television only had 4 channels.
No internet.
No internet, bloody hell. Had to do this with the phone.
Yeah.
I think it kind of, the models brought to life fantasy stories. Kind of like, Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, and fighting fantasy books. Don't know if people remember those. Some people might remember those. So all these sort of stories about trolls and goblins and wizards and things, suddenly, like, you could see them and hold them and play a little game with them.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably why, because I always liked the stories, this then adds an extra level to that. And when I'm playing a game, I kind of have a little bit of a story in my head every now and then. When something's about to happen, I visualize, right, my captain is now about to take on the mighty Broodlord or whatever it might be, which is why I don't think it's ever going to matter if I'm losing, because I'm still just playing the story. Right. I want to win. But if something happens, like when some of my, say, a dreadnought dies and explodes and then starts dishing out mortal wounds, it's like a cool thing that's happened. Oh yeah, look at this, it's exploded, and you sort of picture what it would be like in the battlefield. And
so you're almost looking down on a story, like a 3D story that is just like playing out in front of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've never really thought about it like that.
Because I think we noticed a few moments of that even in our sort of like first game, where it was quite a more sort of teaching game than anything else. And even in there, you had like little stories of your jump pack guys just like wading through teams of termagants, and then like sort of scout squad like busting through a window to save them, and then they're in turn getting gunned down. And it does very, very quickly become this actual like narrative.
Right.
As you're just rolling dice and pushing bits of plastic around the table, and then you are just like, oh yeah, but do you remember when that time the captain saved so and so? And it's like, none of this is real, but it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think then that's why there's a bit of a divide with people who stick with a faction, like faction specialists and meta chasers. Do you think the meta chasers don't really see that story side of it? They're just playing to win? Or do you think they just like switching the story?
In my mind, maybe there's a bit of an element to that. Like if you have, say, say like Connor's Tau, invested like years in building it to this point, knows every unit inside out, that I imagine has like loads and loads of narrative behind it. And then if you're just switching armies every sort of like couple of months, you just don't ever have that opportunity for that to happen.
Yeah.
So maybe you do just view it more as like, yeah, it's a competition thing. But then these people might have, say, I don't know, a home army or something that they'd use in more casual friendly games where they can build that narrative.
Yeah. What do you reckon, James?
Yeah, I think there's probably a bit of a grey area. I think there are plenty of people that just play narrative games, but will have 5 or 6 or 7 different armies. But I think to them, it still is a story every time. But they might be using their World Eaters one day or Black Templars the next day. But yeah, for sure, the real tryhards, I don't think they really see the story. They're playing chess.
Yeah.
Right.
And whether their models are black or white or red or green, they're just playing chess, and each model has a certain ability. But I don't think there's many people at that real extreme.
Yeah. Because I think there's also sub-lists as well where you might just have like 3 massive units in the same list, like say 3 Riptides, and then just maybe Riptides are a bad example, but like I think it's the massive Greater Demon list.
Yeah.
Or the Crusher Stampede, where it's just all the big
the monster
Tyranids.
mash, as James puts
The
it.
monster mash.
Which like models look amazing. I'm sure it's like really good from the tabletop from what you said, but narratively to me that does break down a little bit, just because it's like, I don't know, it kind of needs to work in the lore at the same time.
Yeah,
and I feel like maybe it doesn't.
James talks about immersion in his games, like with models being painted makes for a better experience. And that kind of links back to the enjoyment of the story. Whereas if you've got like the Monster Mash army, you think, well, that doesn't tie into the lore, doesn't tie into like the story necessarily, because it's disjointed there. Like, well, I don't know. Because I suppose in 40k universe, like anything could happen. Like you could just have 5 greater demons pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
To attack, I guess, but it's a bit disjointed, isn't it? So I do get that. A bit like you expect Tyranids to play a certain way, just to be like this massive horde rush
of flesh, basically.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily like that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it depends on the individual. You can still have fun. Like if you took the Monster Mash Tyranids list of like 5 Godzillas.
Yeah, Godzilla's big in the Tyranid army.
Stomping around. I mean, it's still great fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, depending how much you enjoy the lore and things, you'd probably think, well, hold on, this isn't right. This wouldn't really happen. But you can always skew it. I suppose you could say that all the little guys had already been killed and now just the big monsters are left trying to fight off the Blood Angels or whoever you're playing against. So.
It seems like you get more out of this hobby if you got like an active imagination.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. In terms of the Whirlpool, I've one little theory.
Go on.
Which is why it sort of grabs you and pulls you in quite hard, because it's impossible to finish. Like there's no, I've done this. Like, because if you're a hobby collector, there's always a new army. There's always something new coming out. There's always like, oh yeah, I've done this 2,000 points, but this unit's really good. And I just saw this guy on Instagram that I want to try that out. If you're a player, it's constantly changing. There's always new challenges. There's always new people. There's always new like rules or additions.
Yeah.
So even if you're only very lightly collecting it, you're always sort of, there's always something else to do. And not necessarily, not just in the way of, say, like Games Workshop releasing new models or trying to get people to make purchases, but even in terms of just like putting together your own projects. Because I'm in the middle of painting these Tyranids and I'm like this close to buying other stuff just because I'm like, that would be a nice break from painting these. And I'm just like, no, just finish doing the one thing. But it does just happen, I think. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that, it's very addictive from that point of view, like new models. And I think it's worse if you want to see it that way with Instagram, YouTube, etc. Because you get exposed to people doing really cool things, like painting stuff up really well, and that inspires you, doesn't it? You think, oh wow, like the way you might even have that model. So you might even have, oh, like I've got that Space Marine captain here painted, but that guy's done it in a way that I prefer. So I'm going to need to go out and buy another version of this same model, and that's just one model, let alone a whole army or like a new faction comes out. Like when Votann comes out, everyone gets really excited, and it just pulls you in, doesn't it? You see that and you think, if you're a gamer, you think, oh, I wonder how they would play on the tabletop.
Yeah.
If you're a painter, you think, oh, those details are really nice to get in and do some volumetrics. And then if you're into the lore, you think, oh, how have they wound this narrative back into, like, this faction's been missing for however many editions, and now they're back. Like, how are they going to record that? Are there going to be novels that come with it? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
But yes, that's another good thing they do is release a novel, so then you can paint your model whilst you're reading a novel. Then you've got your finished model, and you can, every time you see that, you think back to the novel and the stories, and there's just so much depth, isn't there? There's just so much depth to everything.
I think
quickly going back to
is a key word, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, just really quickly go back to those tie-ins. I was chatting to a guy I was playing against earlier on this week, and he brought up the fact that, did it take Games Workshop nearly 15 years to come out with a Titus model?
I think so.
That's kind of insane, right? For Space Marine 1, that seems like a small oversight, but fair play.
Because Space Marine, what year was the original? Because I played the original Space Marine.
Yeah.
That's how freaking old it was.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to completely disrail, James. That just made me think of that.
Yeah, it must. Let's have it. Just trying to see when the original one, 2011 was the first one.
We all try to desperately do some mental maths.
Right. Yeah, so
14 years.
14 years ago. Yeah. So if they've only just released Titus, then it's been a long old wait, isn't it?
Someone's like, "Have we must have put out a model already?"
Yeah.
Someone's like, "We have a quick
what?" Yeah, someone at Games Workshop having an absolute fit. Imagine all these sales we've missed out on.
And everyone's really happy to see a new Space Marine.
Yeah, depth is definitely key words, as I was saying, like, because there's a lot of very cool other game systems.
Yeah.
That just, for whatever reason, like the models might be just as cool, they might not be. Like, you have to admit, Games Workshop produces some of the best sculpts out there, best looking models. So that's a big part of it, obviously. But there's other companies out there that produce great looking models, like even independent 3D printers and stuff like that. But there's just something about the depth of 40K. Like, you're not just buying that model, you're buying the story behind it. And then this, like, how long's Warhammer 40K been going for now?
Like at least 30 years, isn't it?
Yeah. Like,
probably 40 years, I think.
Wow. Because it is, I would argue it's probably, I'm sure there's something else that beats this, but I reckon it's probably the deepest hobby I can think of in terms of, like, you could go up to say someone and be like, do you like games? Do you like books? Do you like being creative? There's something there. And then so all it needs is that one first little hook into you. And then you're exposed to the rest. And then you're just like, I spent $3,000 building an army, playing in 4 tournaments coming up, maxed out a credit card, but
been kicked out of my home, broken up my wife. Don't talk to me.
But look at this paint job.
Look at my army. There's something for everyone. There is something for everyone. 1987 apparently was the original 40K release date. So we're doing some more. So nearly 40 years. 40 years in 2027. That's wild, isn't it?
Because I do know, I listened to another podcast. Oh my God, I can't remember what it's called.
There's no
Wizard
other podcast out there. Sorry.
Wizard and the Bruiser, and they, like, their last ever episode was about 40K, and they were basically like, it's so big and vast. We were intimidated to do it just because we knew we'd get stuff wrong, and people would, like, call in and be like, "What have you done? You didn't mention this." And then I did look at their social media afterwards, and so many people are just like, "You did talk about my favorite faction and all this." That makes sense.
Yeah, there's too much. There's too much, isn't there, to cover? Too much to remember. I mean, there's worlds within worlds, isn't there? Like, in the 40K world, you know that there are hive cities and things, but they've made an entire game out of just the Hive City element of things, and more stuff all on top of that. It's just so much, so many different layers to it.
And Games Workshop are very clever because they leave things deliberately vague so that you can fill in. Comes back to imagination, I suppose. So you can fill in blank. So there's innumerable Imperial worlds, and they're not going to tell us exactly what worlds work in what way. They just leave it. They're like, well, Ultramar has 500 worlds. Some of them are gone. Some of them are still there. And there's not even like a universal like money. There's Imperial credits. Every planet trades differently. So there's just worlds upon worlds upon worlds. So just whatever your imagination can conjure up, there's something there for you. Whatever scenario, whatever planet, however things work. It's unbelievably deep.
I don't think we've even talked about ever some of the RPGs that have been like written and set in the 40k world, which then like haven't played any, but I've spoken to some people who have, and it will like flesh out in detail like a guardsman's day.
Right.
Or like really like go into like the specific kit they carry on them, from like, they don't call them cigarettes, they call them like something sticks and all the rest of it. And it's like, someone's just sat down, written that all out, and then according to the logic of 40k, the next guardman, because it was raised from a different planet, will be completely different.
Yes.
So again, it's just everyone has that one. There's going to be something there which will like draw you in, and then the rest of it pulls you further into that whirlpool and just gets you the full-on addiction.
And it's funny because nothing is consistent. Like you can't. Luton did a whole episode on the Lasgun, just the Lasgun, because if you read books, different stories, like depending on what you read, the weapon works completely differently. So in some it's like a laser beam, in some it's like a bolt of light, in some and again, because 40 years worth of like lore piling up, and they still have to rejig it a little bit every now and then. So even a topic like that, like we could sit here and talk for the next hour about one type of weapon, and we would not have even scratched the surface.
Don't they also lean on that a bit nowadays? Like, it's just saying not everyone's a reliable narrator. So they can have two different things. So you have nice little loophole there.
Yeah. Like you're looking at it through the Imperial lens most of the time, which is completely warped and terrible. So whereas if you looked at it from the greater good, then it'd look different again, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It's very clever.
How do you guys feel about the idea that it's just going back to that sort of like what causes the whirlpool effect of it being not one of the few, but a hobby that actually isn't in front of a laptop or a screen? And very specifically, maybe I've noticed a lot of people as they've turned like 30-ish, that's when they seem to get back into it. So I'm wondering if a lot of people spend like a few years working and are just like, I need something that's not a TV after work or a laptop at work, and then just something to do with their hands. I feel like that maybe not drags, but like is a good outlet for a lot of people, especially in England because you can't go outside.
Well, I think you're right, and I think there's a natural surge happening at the moment of people wanting to do something a little bit more tactile and in person.
Yeah,
people going out just to play board games or D&D type stuff, Magic the Gathering. But I think there is.
Does that always get a laugh?
We probably notice sharp drop-offs in viewership whenever we mention Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a surge of people wanting to do something rather than just stare at a screen. And we've said, haven't we, that you're there playing for maybe 3 or 4 hours if it's a game of 40k. But it feels like an hour or less than that. It feels like half an hour. You look at your watch, you think, oh yeah, been here an hour. Look back again, you've been there 4 hours. You think, oh bloody hell, that's it, it's time to go home.
Do you remember our last match? Luckily, I think it was quite clear James was going to win, but I looked down at my phone. It's like, I have 10 minutes to go. I need to leave now. I was literally like chucking models in the box, and we'd been there for like 3 hours.
Yeah. I can't think of many hobbies. Sports, maybe, if you kind of put stuff in the sports category, but can't think of many hobbies or games that you would have that effect.
No.
Certainly
just
not.
so absorbing.
Yeah, like maybe chess, or I don't know why I keep referring to chess today. I'm not a chess player, but you could sit and be very involved in something like chess.
Yeah,
but maybe that's a bit too intense. I don't know, there's not enough fun involved in that. You're just thinking moves.
Because I hate playing chess. Like, all my friends love it. They're like, yeah, we'll play chess. Like, absolutely not. But then I love playing Warhammer, which is basically, like you say, it's the same, but not.
Yeah.
But that was a really rubbish description for the audio.
No.
It's the same, but not.
It's the same sort of principle. You're trying to make moves and you're trying to think what your opponent's going to do, what moves they're going to make, sort of 2 or 3 turns ahead if you can, and plotting all the stuff. But I think there's that extra randomness involved as well, that you're almost more engaged, because at any roll of a dice, your plan can just go completely down the toilet, can't it? And you think, well, okay, well, what am I going to do now? And then you're having to recalculate, recogitate what your next plan's going to be.
I think that's a really good point about people wanting to come back to sort of face-to-face interactions. Because we just stare at screens all the time. And Connor mentioned a couple of weeks back about it's one of the only things that he does where he's not tempted to look at his phone.
Yeah,
that's a really good point.
Yeah, and actually at that tournament I was at, when I was there last weekend or weekend before, a couple of people were doing the scores on a whiteboard rather than on the phone, on the app.
Nice.
Because then they don't have to look at their phone at all. There's no like temptation to see that there's been a text message or something. So I might switch to something like that.
Did they say that was like a deliberate tactic to not use a phone, or was that just...
Yeah, deliberate move, yeah.
Well, I think you saw my little pad of paper that I bring everywhere with me now. Yeah. So it's just got the base stats written out, so I don't have to keep opening the app to look at it. Just like a few little reminders. I think that's potentially quite a big part of it,
because I suppose that's the one thing that the painting side of the hobby lacks a little bit, is for most of it. So for you guys, you've gone out, you've left the house, you've met up, you've got a bit of light on your face and your skin maybe, and you've seen some other human. As you've kind of
scuttle from the car to the shop.
The sun was too bright. So, and then, you guys have had like a bit of a chat, bit of a laugh, played the game, had this like little adventure on the tabletop. Whereas painting, as much as you feel like you're detached from the world, you get sort of refueled mentally. It is quite, I'm just sat in my house with my goggles on. And
but then I would say
and it's just me with my goggles on.
Very nice day.
So, but then people go out to shows, and there's a bit more interaction online as you discuss stuff. But I think the gaming side of it offers a lot more in terms of like face-to-face interaction.
But I reckon you touched on the other side of it there, which I think is maybe the appeal for bringing people back in is, especially maybe, again, you're reaching that sort of like 30 to mid-30s. And then if you have been working, you might just not have a creative outlet in the same way that you did when you were a kid. And
that was a big part of it for me.
It's one of the more awesome ways to be able to just produce something that looks quite cool. Doesn't like, you can put as much effort into you want or as little as you want, but just having something that you can just sort of look at and go like, I made this, like painted it. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, and not only so you could go and do, like Dan, you're very artistic, very creative. James, you're obviously a fantastic artist as well. You could both go and do like a canvas painting, and you could get that creative expression out. Dan would probably do a very intricate but dark and brooding painting. James, I imagine yours would be more sort of maybe like hand painting, body painting, sort of smearing things all over a wall, throwing stuff.
Yeah.
So you could go out and do that. But then you've just got something to look at afterwards. Whereas if you paint an army, it's for something. It's like I've painted my army.
Yeah,
you get to get it out, and people can come and admire it. It's a talking point, it's a social point. Then they actually have like statistics, and they get involved in a story, and you sort of gear up your imagination, and there's depth again. That character represents a Space Marine lieutenant who has done this, and he's won this battle and he died here, and da 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 da.
I think it's also got a tiny bit of like almost guardrails as well, like giving someone a clean piece of white paper and saying, "Go make a picture." Like, where the hell? Like, where do I start? At least with something like this, you've just got that little thing to be like, "Oh, I know what I'm doing. I've got that ready-made inspiration almost."
Yeah. Here's my color list from Citadel. I've got Macragge blue, and I've got Altdorf blue, and I put this here and this here. Yeah.
How are those Ultramarines going?
Well, I've painted 2/3 of a chaplain.
Nice.
Yeah.
It looks all right.
Nice. We're gonna see him or
Black? Is he black?
Oh yeah, he's black. He's black.
Nice.
This probably won't render up on it.
That looks
Yeah, I can make him out.
just
Is it
about.
focusing?
No, not really.
No. Oh, that's
It's a
annoying.
very-
Stop trying to focus on me, camera.
Yeah, it's kind of focusing.
I'll post some pictures.
Nice.
Yeah, he's coming along all right, but I don't know. Yeah, anyway,
sorry.
sidetrack there. But there you go. The addictive part of the hobby. You all like
Yeah.
to compare and look at what everyone else is doing, and yeah, nice.
It could be another point of that. The Whirlpool nature of just dragging you in is you can always do better, whether you're tournament or hobby based.
Yeah.
Yes, leveling up.
Unless you're consistently like, I win every tournament in both the normal play mode and best painted models, you've always got somewhere else to go and keep sort of improving.
James, so you sort of had a bit of resistance when you first came back. So we talked about it a little bit, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I remember Warhammer. That was cool." And
Yeah.
so we had a bit of. I used to leave Imperial Citizen post-it notes and
Did you?
yeah, on your workstation. And then what did you put? What are those little origami things? What was? Oh no, that was.
I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
The little the numbered thing where you open it and it.
Yeah. I think you did a Warhammer one of those for me.
Yeah.
Initially, you were quite against the idea. Not against the idea, but you were like, yeah, it's nice, but like I'm not
Resistant.
Yeah. What was it that tipped the scales then? Because that's kind of like a little clue as to the hook.
I'm
got you.
not sure. I mean, we've already said, whenever I walked past a Games Workshop shop, I'd look in the window. If ever I was in a newsagent's or somewhere, I'd probably pick up White Dwarf and basically read it and then put it back, having not bought it.
Yeah.
I think I think I do know what it was, because you had started using your kind of brainwashing techniques whilst at work, sowing the seed. But once I started then doing my own research, looking online, watching stuff and reading stuff, it was seeing, shout out time, War Games Live, Joe there who does his stream over in America, United States, and seeing just how big the tournament thing had become and having a look what it's like in this country and realizing, oh god, yeah, there's loads of tournaments all over the place, and seeing how friendly people were, how sociable people were. I think that's what the tipping point was, is that because I don't have any specific friends now who still play this hobby, that would always have been, I thought, right, whatever happens, even if I don't walk into the Games Workshop shop and make a load of friends suddenly, I'm always going to be able to go to tournaments, always going to be able to meet like-minded people, always going to be able to have a game and have fun. So I think that's what it was. And obviously that does tie in a bit better for me, because I am that little bit, I like the competitiveness of it. I like the bit of competition and the challenge of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So initially you're kind of almost put off by the fact that you might not be able to sort of have games. You could have this army and know all the rules, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to find people to play against, and you weren't sure what the social layout was.
Yeah. And I sort of thought, well, maybe there would be a local club somewhere, and sure enough, there kind of is. But there's always that bit of apprehension of, well, how clicky is it? Am I going to fit in with the few people that are there? You know, if you don't like one or two of the people there, well, that's a dead end. Then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But the fact that there's this huge tournament scene, and as I found out, like, people genuinely are super duper friendly. I'm sure at some point I'm going to meet an asshole. You know, I'm sure I will at some point, but I haven't yet.
Tyranid player, probably.
Or Tau player, Connor. But yeah, I mean, I've played 10 games so far, so not that many. but everyone has been really friendly, good fun. And everyone I've then just chatted to while you're on a break or bumped into and stuff, or the judges who are involved or the tournament organizers, everyone's just been like the friendliest people around. It is like we're in some sort of secret fight club, but for nerds, you know. And and I think everyone kind of,
that's exactly what it is.
you kind of stick together. It's like, okay, outside of here, I'm a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker, whatever you do. But while we're here, we're all big kid nerds playing 40k. And it's nice, nice atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's almost like you sort of, excuse the terminology, but it's almost like you sort of penetrate the bubble almost, because when you watch, so if you didn't know 40k and you maybe were watching someone play Space Marine 2, you can kind of roughly see what it is, but there's a lot of stuff going on there that would make no sense, like cherubs and servitors, and it's all very strange and disturbing. And or if you'd watch someone playing 40k, I think South Park did a bit on seeing people play 40k, and it makes no sense if you don't know what it is. It's just people saying
it just looks
things
really weird.
Yeah, just really strange. But once you sort of dive in and you get in amongst it, you feel you're like, oh yeah, I'm part of this little world, and it all makes sense now. And of course, cherubs are a thing.
It's quite funny you picked up that cherub thing, because that is now a thing on, I think it was on X, all these people who are just playing Space Marine 2 with no familiarity with Warhammer are picking out all of these really bizarre things. And you are like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that is.
Oh, that's really disturbing. Yeah.
Why is the dead baby flying?
Yeah.
That's a damn good question.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole podcast in itself, like disturbing things from the 40k universe that you don't find disturbing anymore. Yeah. Because everything's so extreme.
That's a great episode. My mind instantly was like, oh, flesh borers. Like, what?
I'm writing it down. Things that 40k are disturbing. Because everything's so extreme in 40k. It's not like there's no pink. And this is the other thing about 40k is that if you ask a lot of people about other universes, fandoms, whatever, you'd say, would you like to live in that universe? Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, I'd love
like Mass Effect. That'd be amazing to live in.
Yeah, Mass Effect. Okay, good one, because it's sci-fi. Like, oh, that'd be great. Like, you've got all these different factions and all these different powers and technology. Would you like to live in the 40k universe?
Just a gentle silence.
Not a chance.
Because even they're like...
There might be some, again, like you said, because it's so vast, there probably are some planets where they're living a wonderful little subsistence lifestyle, farming, a few little animals around. There probably are some nice places.
Just Hive Fleet Kraken is descending on the planet.
The other side of it is, even if you do have a blissful life, then the warp is real in the 40k universe. So after you die, the chance of ending up in Nurgle's garden or something is quite high anyway.
Yeah. Sidetrack. I think it was Malkador. There's Luton quoted this and talks about it. Malkador was comforting, I want to say it was a dying sister of battle. And she's like, oh, I'm at peace because the Emperor's waiting. And he's like, yes, the Emperor's waiting. And after she dies, he said, oh, I hate lying to them.
That's so brutal.
Yeah, it's grim.
I probably butchered that quote, but that's the essence of it.
It must be a lot of fun to write for characters like that. After when you've got 30 years worth of lore, to then be just break all of it with a sentence almost. Just throw everything in doubt, and you're like, what?
Yeah, exactly. But then you've always got that caveat of well, it's seen through the lens of an unreliable narrator. So that's real. Yeah, nice. So any final thoughts from you both about? I mean, this podcast seems like a sales event for getting into 40k, but it's dragged us all in, sort of kicking and screaming, hasn't it?
Really, because once it gets its claws in, it's you're just sort of stuck with it. I think because I did have a few bits before I did a big load of traveling a few years ago, and that was the only thing that got me to get rid of it, was just the fact that I had nowhere to store it, so I had to sell loads of stuff, and then got back, and within a year, I've already now started rebuilding a collection. It just happens. But I think it's that non-laptop based hobby, creative itch, quite easy to chill out. And then this is my first time getting back into the gaming since I was like sort of 10 or 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's just a whole element that I've kind of just hadn't even really thought about, and it's been really good. Like get to know James really well in our sort of matches.
Yeah. There's always a
few other
downside.
People. You may,
That's
do
the
the best with work with what you've got,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think are my major sort of reasons and why I've seen a bunch of mates sort of leaning that way recently as well.
What about you, James? Parting comments on?
I think if anyone's happens to be listening, of our sort of tens,
Anyone's
hundreds of
listening, anyone,
our tens of hundreds of thousands of listeners out there,
4% of which are German, James. So guten Tag to those guys.
Guten Tag indeed. Give it a go. If you're on the fence, give it a go. Whether you want to paint a model, give it a go. Play a game, read a novel, watch a short movie on the Warhammer website, or the Secret Level episode. Can't remember which episode it is. Episode 5, maybe. I've watched it several times.
Yeah.
More times than I should have done.
It is really, really good though, to be fair.
And Astartes,
that's bloody good. Watch Astartes, something like that, and then just see where it takes you.
Nice.
Any interest and you're thinking about getting into it? I mean, likelihood is if you're listening to this, you're fully immersed in the 40K universe. But I think we can all agree that there's just something for everyone, isn't there? There's something for creative types who just like to paint. There's something for people who just like to read a great story. There's some amazing novels attached to the 40K universe. And even if you did nothing else, if you read some of the Black Library stuff, there's some of the best sci-fi out there. So gaming, you've got, if you want to just geek out over stats and just social, if you're just doing it for a social aspect, to go and meet people, you don't even have to have a painted army. You don't really even need an army. You can just go and chat to people about it or borrow models and back. So there's definitely something for everyone. Super, super addictive. And like Dan says, there's always something to level up over. James, you've coined the phrase Warhammer Whirlpool.
I think it is an irresistible, deep, dark world of fantasy and mystery, which, if you're that way inclined and have some imagination, you'll dive in and you'll never get out. Because I was in 30 years ago, and I never got out really. And just the right opportunities then arose, and I'm back. I say I'm back, but I never left. I never left the Whirlpool.
Yeah.
I've always been
on the
there.
edge.
It's like you were sat on the shore looking at the Whirlpool, knowing that one day you'd swim right back out into it.
Yeah.
You knew.
Yeah.
You knew it was coming.
I've paddled straight back in.
Always had that one toe dangling in the water.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good summation of the Whirlpool. Our new segment of 40K Who Would Win, straight from the playground or the play yard, if you're listening in America. So we are going to pitch Constantine Valdor against Azrael, Dark Angel Chapter Master.
You've caught me out.
Yeah.
I thought we were going for Dante.
Yeah, I switched it up on you last minute because just felt like it.
So people who might not know, can we get like context or you're way ahead? Sorry, mate. Sorry, I'm getting too excited.
So, I'll have to give you a little bit of, because not everyone's going to know. So, Constantine Valdor is the Emperor's Captain General, leader of the Adeptus Custodes. A little quote about Valdor. His reaction time was to the point where it seemed as if he could see time itself come to a halt. A warrior of superlative skill, it was said that Valdor could match even a Primarch in single combat.
Yeah.
So pitching him against Azrael, who's the Supreme Grandmaster of the Dark Angels Space Marine chapter, Master Tactician and Duelist, who is now, I learned last night, Primaris. So he's made the upgrade.
Yeah.
So would you like, before we get in, would you like a little rundown of their war gear? Would that help the debate?
Yes.
Yeah. So Azrael carries Sword Secrets, which is a mastercrafted power blade of incredible sharpness. Lion's Wrath, so that's his combi plasma bolter weapon. He's got the Lion's Helm, which is an ancient relic projecting a powerful protective force field. And he's got his ornate artificer armor. He's got bolt pistol, frag, and crack grenades as well. Side notes. Valdor, so he carries the Apollonian Spear, a Master Forge Custodian Spear combining a powerful power blade with a built-in Guardian bolter. Lethal melee precision backed by disciplined ranged fire. And he's got his golden armor. Mastercrafted Custody suit that combines near impenetrable protection with enhanced strength, speed, and reflexes, life support, neural systems, etc., etc. So, those two meet in battle 1-to-1, no other distractions. Let's say they're sort of closing in on each other from 100 meters away. What do we reckon?
And this isn't sparring. This is like Azrael's going to try and kill the Emperor.
They've got all of their war gear. They're kitted up. They're in battle. Yeah. Their objective is to take each other out.
Yeah.
Well,
convention. Sorry, James, you go.
Go on, Dan. Go on. I'm going to adjust my lighting. Go on.
Okay. Nice. Conventional wisdom would point to Valdor. Like nearly at Primarch level, all those sorts of stats and everything.
Yeah.
But Dark Angels being Dark Angels, Valdor might be looking for like a straight up fight and a bit of a duel, but the Dark Angels, they're out to win. So I feel like Azrael would have no sort of reservations about calling down strikes on his position or like lance things from above and just blowing it away or just setting traps. I feel like he would fight dirty in order to win. I feel like that's something maybe Valdor wouldn't. So I feel like it's probably a lot closer than you might first think. Yeah,
because on the face of it, you're looking at like physically, Valdor's going to be physically superior, isn't he? And
in an arm wrestle, he'd win.
Well, yeah, maybe that's a different segment. Who wins in this arm wrestle? James, what's your initial thoughts on these two?
I think pretty similar. Like you say, I think Valdor defeated most of the Primarchs in sparring sessions, whereas just dueling. So his like dueling combat martial skill was at least on par, if not better, than some or all of the Primarchs. But like you say, could Azrael do some kind of dirty tricks to try and gain the upper hand? I think that's what you'd have to do. He'd have to do something a little bit tricksy or a little bit dirty to try and gain some advantage. But I mean, Valdor, there's a story about him defeating 30,000 Sun warriors who could all see the future.
Yeah.
So, like, all knowing, they all knew what was going to happen, what he was going to do, but he was so good that he still defeated them all.
Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the day, Azrael is just a Space Marine. He's a very experienced, very, upper level ability, but he is just a Space Marine.
I think this fight would end with Valdor splitting him in half. But as Azrael dies, just like a Land Raider would just drop out of the sky onto Valdor.
So Dan's going for the Land Raider defense.
Yeah, they're like, or he'd overcharge his plasma weapon or something. He's gonna. I think, Valdor would win the fight, but I think Valdor would take quite a lot of damage in some form. Maybe just not what he was expecting.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout. Do you think there's any difference in range? So if they're closing from a range, do you think that would change things? Because again, Azrael's not going to want to close, although what primary weapon is the sword, which is, there's a whole lore behind that as well, being extremely potent. But is his weapon any better, do we think? Like the plasma gun versus he's effectively got a storm bolter, hasn't he?
I just don't think he'd even be able to hit Valdor. I think he'd just dodge any.
He'd be too fast.
He'd just be too fast. I think any bolter rounds or plasma shots or anything, he'd just Muhammad Ali it, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but could Azrael sort of trick him somehow? Because he's like more of a sort of tactical genius than necessarily like.
Well, that's what you'd need to do. He'd have to, he'd have to come out with some kind of absolutely outside the box tactic. that Valdor couldn't possibly see coming. But realistically, I think he's a goner.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely, for sure. Azrael's the underdog here, isn't he? Like, for sure. But I reckon if they maybe fought like 10 times, Azrael would pull off like maybe 1 or 2 wins.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of,
I wonder if you
get lucky once or twice.
I wonder if maybe if you added in sort of like followers, say Azrael's army led by Azrael versus Valdor's army led by Valdor, similar points values, I feel like maybe it would start to swing much more towards Azrael because they're like using tactics and strategy to work around the fact that Valdor's just an absolute menace.
Yeah, so you're looking more like, so we've talked about this before, haven't we, on our worst factions.
We really have it in for the customers.
They're very much like in it for themselves, aren't they? They fight in isolation. They're very, very powerful. But whereas, the Dark Angels are going to, especially with their leader there, they're going to, there's going to be a lot more sort of tactical prowess there.
Or they're just going to glass the planet.
Yeah.
That seems like the Dark Angel way of doing it, though. It's just
the
like,
object of the debate.
sorry, yeah.
Azrael says, call in a strike. Take us out. Just replace me. Who's next in line? Goodbye.
He didn't get off the ship.
Yeah. Oh, he's there waiting for me. Yeah, glass it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Valdor, I'll be there in a minute. Yeah, I'll be there soon. Yeah, he's there.
Nuke it, boys.
Nuke him, Rico. I think we're all sort of pretty agreed there. I think so there were a few bits that I couldn't see that Valdor doesn't have any kind of, like, his armor is supposedly near invincible. But Azrael does have like a force field, like a power force field. I did think, well, maybe that would kind of sway things in his favor, but I think just Valdor just got too much raw kind of advantages, hasn't he, physically? So, sorry, Azrael. You're down, bro.
You did.
And then once he'd killed him, Valdor would then kind of experience Azrael's life. Something to do with his weapon. When he kills someone, he then takes on all of like their woes and troubles and everything they've been through in their life or something like that.
So he'd then know all about the Fallen, which could be an issue.
That's a good novel, isn't it? So here's, you're right though. 100% right, but so what's his name?
I think the Emperor did it to kind of almost tone him down because he was such a beast and looked like he was going to turn into like an absolute killing machine. He wanted him to remember a bit of humanity. So every time he kills someone, he kind of remembers what it's like to feel like a immortal.
So the history on it here, forged in the earliest days of Dark Angel's Legion, the blade predates the Horus Heresy, may even originate from Caliban's hidden forges, where master artisans crafted weapons of incredible potency.
So the demon swords?
The edge is impossibly fine, able to shear through ceramite, etc., etc. One of the sharpest power weapons still used in the Imperium. So it's up there. It's like probably one of the most powerful weapons the Imperium still has. And the sword is connected to the deepest secrets of the Dark Angels. Its name isn't just poetic. Some sources suggest only the Grandmaster knows its full history, even they may not know it all. Psychically resonant, while not a force weapon, it reacts subtly to the wielder, more like a relic, with a will, attuning to Azrael's intent and enhancing his precision.
Still think Valdor kills him.
Valdor just grabs it and breaks it in half. Yeah, that's a nice toy you've got there. Yeah. All right. Sorry. Whatever you're carrying, you're out. Awesome. Well, thanks for that, chaps. Thanks for joining us, for listening along. Where can we find James?
You can find me on Instagram at blasted.miniatures.james. And from there, you'll find the links to the Blasted Miniatures website where you can follow my blog. And I'm occasionally popping on little updates about my tournament gaming and how it's going. Getting there.
Yeah, you are smashing it. You've succeeded, as we said, in becoming a tournament gamer.
Yeah.
Success, tick.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you're listening along, it really helps the show if you give us a like, give us a follow. If you want to request a topic for us to cover, please send us a message, email us, or if you've got a good grimdark would you rather for us to cover, that would be good as well. So you can email us at studio@rogue-miniatures.co.uk. If you're a fan of battle reports and you haven't already found Daily Dice, please go and check out the channel. They do regular reports. They've got some really, really nice looking armies, so they're definitely worth checking out. And with that, thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
See you
See you later,
everyone.
guys.
Rogue transmission ending.